When your dog follows you calmly and checks in with you on walks, do you actually know what that means? You probably think it's just obedience. Maybe they're well trained. Maybe they're just used to you. But behind that calm behavior, there's something deeper that most dog owners completely miss. It's one of the most instinctive and emotional things your dog can do. And if you misunderstand it, which most owners do, you might confuse your dog and weaken your bond without even realizing it. Let's start with what this behavior really means. 1. It's not obedience. It's trust in disguise. You see your dog walking beside you, not pulling, not resisting. They glance up at you every few steps. Most people think it's about training. That's a well-behaved dog. Here's what's actually happening. Your dog isn't just following commands. They're choosing to follow you. That's a huge difference. Because obedience can be forced, but trust, that has to be given. When your dog stays close without tension, it means they don't feel the need to take control. They're relaxed. They're secure. Think about that for a second. In a pack, the leader isn't the loudest or the strongest. It's the one others naturally follow because they feel safe doing so. And when your dog walks calmly beside you, they're saying, I don't need to lead. I trust you to handle this. What this reveals about how your dog sees you, not just as an owner, but as a guide. And here's where most owners get it wrong. 2. Your dog is constantly checking in with you. Have you ever noticed this? You're outside. Your dog wanders a bit, then suddenly looks back at you. Maybe they pause. Maybe they make eye contact. Most people assume they're just making sure I am still there. Here's what's actually happening. Your dog is asking for direction. A 2020 study from the University of Veterinary Medicine, Vienna found that dogs frequently look back at their owners in uncertain situations, not out of confusion, but to seek guidance. But what matters is this. Your dog isn't just checking where you are. They're checking who's in charge of the situation. Think about that for a second. In the wild, uncertainty can mean danger, so dogs rely on their leader to read the environment. And when your dog looks at you during a walk, they're saying, are we safe? Do we keep going? What should I do? What this reveals about how your dog sees you? You're their decision maker. And here's where it gets even deeper. 3. They stay close, even when they don't have to. Imagine this. You're at home. Your dog has the entire space. But instead of wandering far away, they stay near you. Not glued to you, just nearby. Most people think they're clingy. Here's what's actually happening. Your dog is anchoring themselves to you. Dogs rely heavily on scent and proximity to define safety. Studies on canine cognition show that dogs use their owner's scent as a reference point for security. But here's the emotional truth. Your presence regulates your dog's entire emotional state. Think about that for a second. In a pack, members stay close to the leader, not out of dependency, but because that's where stability exists. And when your dog chooses to rest near you, follow you room to room, or simply stay within your orbit, they're identifying you as their safe base. What this reveals about how your dog sees you. You're not just part of their world. You are the center of it. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more dog owners who actually want to understand what their dog is really saying. 4. They don't panic, even in new situations. You take your dog somewhere unfamiliar. New smells, new sounds, new people. But instead of panicking, they stay relatively calm. Maybe they stay close. Maybe they observe. Most people think, my dog is just confident. Here is what's actually happening. Your dog is borrowing confidence from you. A 2019 study from Avos-Lorand University found that dogs use their owners as a secure base when exploring new environments, similar to how children rely on parents. But here's what that really means. Your dog doesn't need to control the situation because they trust that you already are. Think about that for a second. In the wild, survival depends on reading threats correctly, and the pack leader absorbs that responsibility. So when your dog stays calm in unfamiliar environments, they're saying, if you're okay, I am okay. What this reveals about how your dog sees you, you are their emotional anchor. And this is where the bond starts to deepen. 5. They don't do this with everyone. Now notice this. Your dog behaves one way with you, and completely differently with others. Maybe they pull more with strangers. Maybe they ignore commands from other people. Most people think they're just more attached to me. Here is what's actually happening. Your dog is selective about who they trust to lead. Leadership isn't automatically given. It's earned through consistency, calmness, and clarity. Think about that for a second. In a pack, not every member has authority. Only one sets direction. And your dog is constantly evaluating. Who do I listen to? Who do I follow? So when your dog listens to you but not others, when they stay calm with you but not elsewhere, that's not coincidence. That's recognition. What this reveals about how your dog sees you, you're not interchangeable. You're chosen. And what makes this even more powerful is 6. They relax completely around you. Watch your dog when they're truly at ease. Their body is loose. Their breathing is slow. Maybe they stretch out, exposing their belly. Maybe they sleep deeply right next to you. Most people think they're just comfortable. Care is what's actually happening. Your dog is letting their guard down completely. And that's one of the most vulnerable things they can do. Because in the wild, vulnerability equals risk. Think about that for a second. A dog that feels unsafe stays alert, tense, reactive, ready. But a dog that feels protected, they rest deeply. And when your dog relaxes fully in your presence, they're saying, I don't need to watch everything because you will. What this reveals about how your dog sees you, you are their protector, not through force, but through presence. 7. If this suddenly stops, don't ignore it. Now here's something most people overlook. What if your dog suddenly stops doing these things? They stop checking in. They become distant. They seem more anxious or more withdrawn. Most people assume they're just moody. Here's what's actually happening. Something has changed in how your dog feels. It could be stress, confusion, or even physical discomfort. Dogs don't randomly shift behavior without reason. Think about that for a second. If trust builds slowly, it can also be disrupted. And when your dog stops seeing you as a stable leader, they may feel the need to take control or shut down. What this reveals about how your dog sees you, their trust is not permanent. It's something you maintain every day. So don't ignore this. Because small changes in behavior often signal something deeper. So, when your dog follows you, calmly checks in with you, stays close, and relaxes completely in your presence, that's not just good behavior. That's trust. That's leadership. That's connection. You think your dog is just being obedient, but actually, they're choosing to see you as the one who keeps them safe. And that behavior, it was never small to your dog. And it shouldn't be small to you either.